Have you ever discovered something so cool that you had to tell everybody? Then when you told them, they said, "Cool story, bro," and went on about their business. This is the story of VR. And this is the latest and greatest headset to consume it in. The Meta Quest 3 offers some of the best VR technology from a consumer headset to date. And while no doubt it's a great option for VR gaming, if you're like me and you like creating your own VR content using 360 and 3D cameras, then you're probably wondering how the Quest 3 performs for that purpose. So in this video, I'll be looking at the Quest 3 from the perspective of a 360 content creator and whether you should consider buying one to view your own content in. Now let's start with the price. It's $499 and $649 US for the 128GB and 512GB models. As to which one you should get really depends on your needs. If you plan on downloading a lot of games or hosting a lot of content natively on the headset, then you probably will want to opt for more storage. However, if you're more of a casual user, then 128GB should be enough. That's the model I got and I don't have any regrets yet. Ooh, Touch Plus controllers. They feel good in the hand and the design is nearly identical to the Quest Pro controllers. AA battery compartment. The headset looks pretty nice and has 3 big eyes at the front, and what they really are cameras on the left and right with a depth sensor in the middle to help track your environment while you use it. Volume up and down, and dial for IPD, aka how close or far the lenses are from each other. USB-C charging and on-off buttons on the side, more cameras along the bottom, and headphone jack on the other side. It uses pancake lenses like the Quest Pro, which helps reduce the headset size, and overall the build quality feels pretty good. The speakers are cleverly hidden at the bottom of the strap attachment. In the box you'll find an 18-watt charger and USB-C to USB-C cable, as well as the manuals and warranty. The battery lasts on average about 2 hours of continuous use, and to charge it to full charge it takes 2.5. However, you can also use it while it's on charge with a really long USB-C cable. In terms of the comfort, I would say it's comfortable for short periods. When you first start up the headset for the very first time, it will prompt you to adjust the strap at the back so it fits your head perfectly. Everyone has a different shaped head. Some of us have big ones, other people have small ones.
That's what she said.
And this makes it comfortable to use the Quest 3 for 10 to 15 minutes. After that though, it does start getting uncomfortable and you can really feel it pressing against your forehead and can leave big red marks, as it did to me the first few times I used it. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker level of discomfort. However, you will need to keep your viewing sessions short if you plan on using this strap, or purchase the Elite strap, which is sold separately, which apparently makes it much more comfortable. Otherwise, I found keeping the straps a bit on the loose side does minimize the forehead marks and overall discomfort. When looking into the headset, the gap underneath is really small, especially compared to the Quest Pro, where there was so much daylight coming in from the bottom. Just like the Quest Pro, it also has pancake lenses with dual LCD displays with 2064 by 2208 pixels per eye, which is 30% more pixel density than the Quest 2. It has a 120Hz display and full color pass-through, which is fantastic for mixed reality. In case you don't know, pass-through means the cameras on the outside shows you what's around you when you're wearing the headset, and this means you can have really good mixed reality experiences using Quest 3. For a VR headset, the camera quality is actually quite decent, and despite the warping that often shows up around the edge of the lenses, the sharpness is good enough that you can see details as small as the text on your phone, which wasn't possible on the Quest 2. I'm happy to say that I haven't had eye strain with the Quest 3, at least yet, which is a common experience with VR when the screens are so close to your eyes. Before I get to the controllers, I will mention that it's got hand tracking. So by putting your hands in front of you, the cameras from the headset see what you're doing and you can use your fingers to navigate through the menus. Unfortunately, this isn't faster than using the controllers, but a cool technology nonetheless. The controllers are very light, in fact so light that it's like you're not carrying anything, which is good for keeping you in the moment of VR. Now let's talk about use cases for the Quest 3 for 360 content creators. To view your 360 content in VR, there are a few ways to do it. You can sideload your content through a cable that connects to your computer, and this is essentially like a USB transfer, albeit with a long and clunky workflow to do so. Another way is using the Skybox VR app, which is an app you can buy within the Meta Quest store when you're in the headset, and this allows you to stream your your 360 photos and videos from your computer. And this is a great way to watch back your content wirelessly, which works well for the most part. The stream is pretty good with the occasional bit of lag. Skybox VR also acts as a content viewer, so if you do sideload your content to the headset, it's basically just another version of the inbuilt gallery with multiple options for 3D and other types of immersive media. It does also have a few features that the inbuilt gallery doesn't have, like the ability to level your shots, as well as do basic color correction and improve the clips in other ways for smoother playback. The final method for watching back your own video content is YouTube VR. This means your video is hosted online on YouTube and not locally on your headset. However, you obviously will need a fast internet connection to watch it back at full quality, which still won't look as sharp as hosting locally and using Skybox VR. This brings me to the downside of using VR as a 360 content creator. As much as I hate to admit it, when you shoot 360 video with a consumer 360 camera like the Insta360 cameras, when you're watching that footage back in VR, the quality seems lower than it did elsewhere. While it might be enough for a mobile phone screen or a computer screen, when you're in VR, you're completely immersed in the content and the pixels within the video are right in front of your eyes. So even with a properly shot 5.7K 360 video, it's still going to look a bit low quality. And that's okay. You don't always need a huge amount of quality with every piece of content you make. However, if you are shooting for VR, you'll need to use as good of a camera as you can. Otherwise, the amazing immersive experience suddenly feels like a low quality, amazing immersive experience. And then when you watch other people's footage shot at 8K and you go back to yours shot at 5.7K, doesn't cut it. So I suppose that's one caveat of using consumer 360 cameras for VR. I will say that the difference between a camera like the Insta360 X3 and the Insta360 1RS 1-inch is noticeable in VR. Since the 1-inch does obviously have a bigger sensor and better overall video quality, this would be the camera I'd choose if you're looking for a consumer 360 camera under $1,000 specifically for shooting VR. But you don't just have to watch your own content. In fact, when you see other people's content, you won't want to watch your own, because when opening up the headset and navigating to the Meta TV app, inside you'll find some of the most amazing immersive experiences you will ever witness. When looking through this amazing library of content, I truly have no words for the level of immersion I was able to experience when watching it. While this underwater scene looks pretty average from the 2D perspective you're looking at now, from the 3D perspective I'm seeing it from within the headset, it feels as close to real as you could possibly get without being there. So I really can't speak highly enough about experiencing an immersive experience inside a VR headset, whether it's a VR 180 3D video or an immersive 360 video. The actual experience you get is an experience and not just a video. And in the content that's done really well, it's like the best second place you'll get to actually doing that thing yourself. With every video I opened up, I found myself inspired to not only view more content, but to want to make my own. So I really see experiencing VR for yourself. I mean, right now you're just taking my word for it, but if you give it a go yourself and you see what I see, it will make you super motivated to want to create your own experiences like these. Every time I watch good VR content, I'm like, oh my God, how have I not done this more often? So don't rob yourself of having that experience. Try it at least once, whether it's a friend's headset or a demo headset at Best Buy. Just try your best to try it at least once. I will touch on gaming really quickly. Obviously, this is a fantastic device for gaming. There are lots of really cool, unique, immersive gaming experiences that can be had in a VR headset. And while they're not on the level of PC games or console games in terms of the graphics, again, they do create that amazing immersive experience that you simply can't get with a console game. I do love how real the physics feel. Two of my favorite games are Racket Fury, which is a fantastic table tennis game, and Walkabout Mini Golf, which is a futuristic mini golf game, both of which have lifelike physics, which is extremely impressive. Compared to the Quest 2, the Quest 3 is obviously better, especially with the pancake lenses and full color pass-through, making the viewing experience much richer. And if you do own a Quest 2 and you're upgrading to Quest 3, all the games and apps you bought on Quest 2 are backwards compatible, so you can download them instantly on the 3. I also bought the Quest Pro last year, but now I'm thinking, why? Meta have released this, and despite being a third of the price at release, it's better in many ways. If you are considering the Pro, I wouldn't recommend it anymore since the Quest 3 does most of what the Pro does at a third, well, now it's half of the price. And there wouldn't be any reason really to pay extra money for this when the 3 does most of the things you want to do. So should you buy the Quest 3? Well, my personal opinion is hell yeah. The amount of cool experiences you can have with this headset, both for gaming and for VR content consumption, delivers so much value in terms of creating an entertaining experience. If you haven't tried VR yet, then I'd say yes, now is the time to try it. The Quest 3 is a fantastic headset, which is only going to get better with future firmware updates. And even if you don't plan on viewing your content immersively, there are heaps of other great use cases you can use the Quest 3 for. Since it is around $500 to $600 though, it is more of a luxury than a necessity, but if you do have the money to spend, you won't regret it. You can find a link to the Quest 3 down below. What are your thoughts on the Quest 3? Is it a yay or a nay? Let me know down below. And if you want to learn how to make your own 360 videos to either reframe or view in the immersive 360 format, then check out this video here to learn more about my 360 video masterclass, where I share all of my best tips and tricks for amazing 360 videos.